Hey everyone, welcome to Transient. I'm Eitan Reiter, and today we're going to recreate This Is America by Childish Gambino. This tutorial is going to be pretty fast and simple, but in case you wish to dive deeper, you're welcome to download the project file and the sounds for free in the link below. We're going to go over the track's arrangement, the track's beat, some interesting drum fills, how to synthesize the sounds, and some special effects. And stick around for the end of this video for an in-depth tip on using sidechains. This is going to be an interesting episode, so let's dive in. Let's start with the foundation, the kick drum. It's a pretty simple pattern. Just make sure to find a sample that fits and set it to the right length and pitch. The bass line is playing one long note with a soft pitch modulation. The bass sound is made out of a sawtooth. You can of course find the preset if you download the project. Some chorus is applied to make it a bit wider, a bit of saturation to give it some character, and this R-bass plugin to enhance the low end. The bass is then being sidechained by the kick drum so they can both be heard in the mix. I'm using pre-effects mode and a high-pass filter. That way the compressor is affected only by the beginning of the kick drum and is reacting very fast. We're going to go more into that later on in the video. Next up is the clap sample. Of course, make sure you get it in the right length. I've used some saturation and EQ. Next are the toms, playing in their specific pitch. And the hi-hats. I've actually used two hi-hat layers for this one, and here's the first one. It's actually made out of an open hat and a closed hat with a bit more attack. Using the sampler's attack is a great way to make sharp sounds seem softer and rounder in the mix. Try using it on kick drums as well. Then I've used a tape for some saturation. For the second hi-hat layer I've used a standard 808 with a bit of distortion. Next up is this shaker loop made out of 4 different samples. Here's the first one, the second one, the third, and the fourth, which is a type of reverb sound. Of course, in the original project they probably used just one sound, but sometimes if you want to recreate a specific sound, you're going to have to use different layers and combine them together. And speaking of layering sounds together to create one loop, this is a great example. It was reproduced out of 8 different drums. Here's the first one. I've used Contact's West Africa for that one, and same for the second drum. This one is a sample I found. And this one is also a sample which was softly manipulated by these Ableton plugins. Another Contact playing West Africa. And one more drum sound which is actually there to increase some of the harmonics. Here's another layer. This one is also out of Contact's West Africa. I've used the gate and this equalizer to bring out some of the harmonics. And here's the last sample. To get the overall complete character, I've had to group all these drums together and apply the same effects on all of them. We're almost done with the main loop. There are just a few harmonics missing, so I've actually used a synthesizer to create these harmonics. So here's the melody, and this is the preset. It's also based on a sawtooth wave, and you can find it in the project. The track starts with a very simple and fun guitar line, which is there basically for that naive feeling, and to give it some contrast, here's the horror movie type pad sound. This sawtooth oscillator is playing a very high-pitched long note, and the horrific effect is caused by the few voices being detuned. To complete this pad, they've used another horror movie type of sound. It's playing this chord. I've also used a sawtooth for this one, this time with a low pass filter. And then I've used a noise LFO on the pitch, which made the sound feel a bit more random and less synthesized. And last, this EQ is applied to enhance some of the harmonics. And now for the fun part, some transitions. This one is made from a standard 909 clap, only very short. And this is just a gunshot sample that I found. The important thing about this sample though is that it's there to enhance the first kick drum. A simple technique is used here. And both of the samples are not playing exactly at the right time. If they were both playing exactly at the same time, their two volume peaks would have combined and created a much louder volume peak. And now let's listen to the full track. But before doing that, here's one more tip about using sidechains. As I've mentioned earlier, I've used the compressor on pre-effects mode. This allows me to then change the volume of the kick drum without having it affect the behavior of the compressor on the bass, which allows me to mix more freely. And then the second thing I've done is use a high-pass filter on the signal that's entering the compressor, which in this case is the kick drum. Kick drums tend to go very fast from a high frequency to a low frequency, which means that the high frequencies are always at the very beginning of the kick drum. The more low frequencies you filter out, the shorter the kick is going to get. And a short signal going into the compressor means a much faster reaction time. That way the sidechain doesn't take so much off your bass, which leads to a more natural sound. In some cases, this fits way more than an aggressive sidechain effect. And then if you want to make it even more unnoticed, you can use the mix to make the effect a bit more subtle. And now back to the full track. Quick reminder, the project file and the sounds are available for free in the link below. For more videos like this one, subscribe to our channel.